Have you ever felt eyes on you even when you're alone? It's a strange sensation, isn't it? Like an itch in your mind you can't quite scratch. It's there when the room grows quiet, when the world feels still. You glance around, searching for the source. But you find nothing. Just emptiness. Just silence. You tell yourself it's nothing. A trick of the light. The house settling. The hum of life around you creating patterns that your brain misinterprets. That's what logic tells you. But that feeling lingers, persistent, unshakable. Then it starts. Something small, barely noticeable at first. A whisper, soft, delicate, like the rustling of leaves. It's easy to dismiss. You think, it must be the wind, or maybe my imagination. But what if it's not? You try to shake the feeling. You remind yourself there's no one else here. You're alone. Aren't you? Still, your chest tightens. Your breath quickens. The air in the room feels heavier now, like something unseen is pressing down on you, closing the space around you. You step forward, cautiously. Your pulse pounds in your ears as you search for an explanation. You check the doors, they're locked. You glance at the windows, shut tight. Yet that feeling grows stronger. You're not alone, are you? You freeze, heart racing. It came from somewhere close. Too close. But you don't move. You don't breathe. You don't dare make a sound. And then you hear it, a soft creak, like a footstep. Slow. Measured. Unmistakable. Your thoughts race, searching for answers, but there are none. The walls feel like they're closing in, and every shadow seems alive. Logic fades, replaced by an overwhelming truth. Something is here. Watching. Waiting. Closer than you'd ever want to imagine. At least, that's what you tell yourself. It was late. The kind of late where the world felt different, where silence stretched between the raindrops, filling the empty spaces with something unseen. A two-story house stands alone in a quiet suburban neighborhood. Most of the houses on the street are dark, their occupants long asleep. But inside this house, a single lamp flickers in the living room, its glow unsteady, struggling against the weight of the night. Claire had just come home. A long shift, a heavy night. The exhaustion pressed against her like a thick fog, yet something kept her awake. Something small, subtle. But there, she told herself it was just the rain, just the exhaustion playing tricks on her. But the air inside felt different. Heavy, thick, like walking through water. She locked the door behind her. Twice. A soft creak echoes from upstairs. Claire stops. Listens. Nothing. She exhaled, shaking her head. Houses made noise. That's what they did. Wood expands, pipes settle. She had lived here long enough to know that. She moves into the kitchen, pouring herself a glass of water. The soft glow of the refrigerator light spills across the floor. Outside, the rain beats steadily against the windows, but inside, the house remains unnervingly still. It wasn't until she reached for the cabinet that she felt it. The shift. The awareness. The quiet understanding that something had changed. The hair on her arms rose before she even realized why. Claire turned sharply, heart hammering in her chest. But there was nothing. Just her own reflection, pale and tired. Just the empty room behind her. Just nothing. She forces a breath. A nervous chuckle escapes her lips, but it feels forced, unnatural. Maybe she needed sleep. Maybe that was all. She takes a sip of water, trying to shake the unease. Then a sound. Low. Muffled. From upstairs. She froze. It was quick, almost too quick to notice. Like something moving just beyond her range of hearing. A shifting weight. A breath. She turned her head slightly, listening, her grip tightening around the glass in her hand. The rain outside grew louder, almost as if it was trying to mask something else, something it didn't want her to hear. A long pause. Claire swallows hard, glancing toward the hallway leading to the staircase. Her heartbeat is in her ears now, an uneven rhythm pulsing beneath her skin. She didn't want to go upstairs. But something told her she might not have a choice. The hum of the refrigerator falters. A single light flickers. And in the silence, a voice, soft, barely audible, whispers her name. A heavy silence blankets the house. The air is thick, pressing in from all sides. The rain outside has slowed to a drizzle, the once steady tapping against the windows now eerily absent. The world outside has gone still, too still. Claire stood frozen in the kitchen, her pulse hammering in her ears. The whisper. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't her imagination. It was real. Claire turns her head ever so slightly, scanning the room. Her gaze darts to the door, locked. The windows shut. There's nowhere for someone to be. And yet she's not alone. She takes a step back, slowly, carefully. The floorboard beneath her foot lets out a faint creak. She winces. The breathing stops. A long, heavy pause. Then, her phone vibrates violently against the countertop, the sudden noise making her jump. She grabs it, hands shaking, eyes locked on the screen. A single message. No number. No contact name. Just 2 words. I'm watching. Claire's breath catches in her throat. Her hands tremble as she swipes at the screen, heart racing. She looks around, scanning the room. Empty. But the feeling, that suffocating awareness, has only grown stronger. She swallows hard, stepping back against the counter. The message, it had to be a prank. A sick joke. Someone messing with her. Right? But the question clawed at the edges of her mind. How did they know she was looking at her phone right now? The lights flicker again once, twice. Then the power cuts for just a moment. A heartbeat of pure darkness. When the lights come back, something is different. The air is changed, colder, heavier. And then, the whisper returns. The voice is faint, distant, yet close. It comes from the hallway this time. Words barely more than breath, crawling through the silence. You shouldn't have ignored me. Claire's eyes widen. Her breath hitches. She takes a single step forward, peering down the darkened hallway. Nothing but shadows. But she knows. She knows. Something is there. The tension builds, heartbeat pounding, breath shallow. She forces herself to move, one step at a time, each footstep an eternity. The hallway feels longer than before, stretching endlessly in the dim light. Then, bang! A door upstairs slams shut. Claire lets out a sharp gasp, stumbling back, her body slamming into the wall. Her pulse is wild, adrenaline flooding her veins. She turns toward the front door. She has to get out. Now. She sprints toward it, hands fumbling with the lock, twisting the handle. Nothing. The door won't budge. She yanks harder, panic clawing at her throat. It won't open. It won't open. She's trapped. A low, slow creak echoes behind her. A presence. Something moving in the darkness. Claire's body goes rigid. The air around her grows impossibly cold. The whisper is right behind her now. You can't leave. A breath. Not hers. Right at the back of her neck. And then, a hand. Ice-cold fingers brush against her shoulder. The screen cuts to black. The police arrived an hour later. The rain had stopped. The house was still, untouched. Nothing was out of place. No broken windows. No forced entry. No sign of a struggle. A slow fade-in. Flashing red and blue lights reflect against the wet pavement. Officers move through the house, their voices hushed, uncertain. The front door now swings open effortlessly beneath their touch, unlocked. As if it had never been stuck at all. They searched every room, every closet, every shadowed corner. And yet, Claire was gone. A police officer stands in the dimly lit kitchen, brows furrowed. Something isn't right. The house is too perfect, too still. Then, his eyes land on the countertop. There, sitting neatly in the exact spot Claire had left it, was her phone. No fingerprints. No recent calls. But one unread message remained on the screen. A close-up shot of the phone, screen glowing in the darkness. A single text, sent at 3:06 a.m. Sent from Claire's own number. I'm watching. A slow zoom into the phone screen as the text lingers. The police officers exchange uneasy glances. One of them exhales sharply, rubbing the back of his neck. Some people vanish without a trace. They leave behind questions, whispers, unanswered calls. They become nothing more than a memory, a ghost in the minds of those who search for them. But sometimes they never really leave. Did this story send chills down your spine? If this story kept you on edge, hit like and subscribe for more terrifying tales. There's always another story waiting in the dark. And tell me, have you ever felt watched? See you soon.